It's 1955 and you're at the San Francisco wharf, but this isn't a normal night. Aliens have landed on Earth with one goal in mind: to conduct experiments on you and all of your friends. This is a deep dive in the 2017 Halloween Horror Nights 27 Orlando Scare Zone Invasion. On August 17th, 2017, less than a month before the event started, Universal Orlando announced the Invasion Scare Zone in a batch announcement with all of the Halloween Horror Nights 27 scare zones. Invasion was located in the San Francisco section of the park, which is in between Fast and Furious Supercharged and Diagon Alley. Back in 2017, however, Fast and Furious Supercharged was still under construction as it opened the following spring on April 23rd, 2018. This was noticeable while guests walked through the scare zone, because behind the crashed UFO site was what would now be the exit of Fast and Furious Supercharged. Instead was rows of construction scaffolding lined up across the old disaster ride building. Invasion would end up being the fourth scare zone located in the San Francisco section of the park in Halloween Horror Nights history. The first zone ever to be located here was Zombie Gras in 2010, followed by All Night Die-In double feature in 2015, then Dead Man's Wharf in 2016, and finally in 2017 we would be at Invasion, which is the topic of this video. The Invasion scare zone was based on 1950s and 60s sci-fi themes. The story is based in 1955 during a UFO crash landing in the San Francisco wharf known in real life as Fisherman's Wharf. The UFO crashed right in front of a blue vehicle with a telephone pole trampled over it, as seen in the scare zone walkthroughs. In the zone, there are various aliens aboard the flying saucer, and they are now roaming Universal Orlando's version of the San Francisco wharf. The military arrives to the wharf to help save the city from the alien invasion, but they're no real match against the aliens, as they quickly probe them for their own research. You, the guests walking by, are their next target. Individual character names in Invasion are relatively unknown, but the scare zone has 4 groups of characters that roam the streets of San Francisco. 3 groups of characters are aliens and the other group are humans. The 3 groups of aliens consist of alien soldiers, brute aliens, and alien scientists. The human group are the US Army soldiers on the scene of the alien invasion. The first group of aliens are the alien soldiers, who are these light gray looking aliens that wear silver baggy onesuits that almost remind me of very thick foil blankets. Next up are the brute aliens, which are these purple aliens who wear blue onesuits. The final group of aliens are the alien scientists, which are the main group of aliens that found the human life, which in this case is you, the guest, walking through. These aliens are a mix of light and blue purple, and they wear white robes with thick neck padding on them. The humans in the scare zone are the US Army soldiers. They walk around the zone signaling to guests that the area is not safe. While they are trying to save the streets of San Francisco, the aliens outnumbered them and start attacking the US Army soldiers and probing them to learn more about the human race. If you are enjoying this video so far, consider giving it a like as it helps out the channel a ton. Now let's get on to the walkthrough of the scare zone invasion. Unlike haunted houses, scare zones are not fully linear. For this video, I will be explaining the walkthrough as if you are starting facing Diagon Alley next to Richter's Burger Company. This also means that the walkthrough explained in the video could be completely different than what you experienced back in 2017, as it's possible things were shifted around later on in the haunt season. When first approaching the scare zone, guests are able to see all the aliens roaming around. One thing to note that the aliens, specifically the alien soldiers and the brute aliens, tend to carry ray guns with them. The ray guns all look a little different from each other, but they really remind me of Super Soaker and Nerf guns. Not saying this is the case, but what if they painted over Super Soakers? It makes sense from a prop budget standpoint, but who knows, maybe there's a ray gun distributor out there that I just don't know of. Both the soldier and brute aliens have these lightning ray boxes. Not sure how else to really describe them, but they come in 3 different types. Neck bands, which have the smallest lights, back facing and front facing backpack style of lights. The front and back lights are much bigger and noticeable while walking through. In the walkthrough, the first thing guests probably noticed was the UFO crash itself, which was the centerpiece of the zone. At the start of the UFO crash is a 1964 blue Ford Fairlane. I am almost positive this Ford vehicle was featured in the 2023 Halloween Horror Nights Scare Zone Vamp 69, as well as the facade of the first Slaughter Cinema house. I did an entire deep dive of both Vamp 69 and Slaughter Cinema already, so if you want to watch something after this video, the link will be in the description for both of the videos. The telephone pole that crashed into the car seemed to have its wires wrapped around the side of the car. The UFO itself was a stereotypical looking UFO, with a circular saucer shape and a cracked clear glass dome at the top with what appears to be a smaller alien trapped inside. Inside the dome shines a red light at night. The UFO also flashes purple and blue on the sides with light up circles in between them. At the end of the UFO is a pile of sandbags. This is from the US Army that's positioned nearby. Sometimes guests would walk by an alien probing a US Army soldier. More on that later. Below the UFO is a pile of cement brick rubble created by the impact. In the mix of all this was a yellow stop sign. Not sure how this got here, but we'll just roll with it. Anyway, something to point out about the alien scientists is that their white robes have blood splatter in different parts, implying that the US Army cadets possibly engaged in combat against them. Across from the crash site is where the US Army was stationed. There is a pile of sandbags with an array of army gear piled up next to it. The US Army characters are walking behind the sandbags, protecting themselves after being wounded and probed by the aliens. All of the soldiers looked pretty beat up, even the ones who have yet to be probed by the aliens. They tell guests walking by that they need to leave the area as it's no longer safe to walk around due to the aliens.
You guys have to get out of here, it's not safe!
The army soldiers who have been probed, which basically means tested by aliens, have a flashing circular device on the side of their heads. Next to the sandbags is an army truck which stores 3 missiles in the back. The army truck was also reused again for the facade of the 2018 haunted house Dead Exposure Patient Zero. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video about that haunted house. The scare zone ends right next to Lumbar Seafood Grill. Outside of the 2017 scare zone, Invasion itself and some of its roaming characters were featured in different event years and other areas of the 2017 event. Starting with the event year, the actual scare zone was featured in, the Brute Aliens and the Alien Soldiers were featured in the RIP tour. I was unable to find footage of them during the tour, but I'm going to assume that they were roaming around during the pre-tour reception where guests got light snacks and refreshments before the tour started. Well, actually, while editing this video, I did manage to find footage of an alien soldier at a pre-tour reception, but no sight of a Brute alien. So if you went on an RIP tour in 2017, please let me know if there were any Brute aliens on the tour. I'm guessing Universal may have swapped between the 2 aliens depending on the night. Next up is the HHN Media opening night ceremony where the alien soldiers and alien scientists were roaming around in the event ballroom. One of the alien scientists was also featured in the 2022 Halloween Horror Nights house Hellblock Horror in the alien hallway in the haunted house. Finally, the most notable cameo of Invasion would be the 2021 Scare Zone Lights Camera action Eddie's Revenge. This scare zone would highlight some of the most popular scare zones throughout the 30 years of the event. One of which being Invasion, where an alien scientist is taunting guests on a platform with an art display based on the Invasion scare zone behind them. The Invasion scare zone brought a different take on horror through 1950s science fiction. Personally, I did not go to Halloween Horror Nights 2017, so I don't have any first-hand thoughts about the zone, but through watching videos and doing research on the scare zone, it's interesting to see a zone based on a full-fledged alien invasion. Regardless if you have been to this zone, what are your thoughts and opinions on it? I create Halloween Horror Nights deep dive videos similar to this one. You should check out my last video about the 2022 scare zone Graveyard Deadly Unrest. Thank you for watching.